All right, so today we're diving into something really special, a concept that feels both ancient and incredibly personal. Candle Dream Radio. It's an idea that invites us to listen in a whole new way, so let's get into it. Where the flame hums softly and the dream remembers you. This line, it just hits different, right? It's not just a clever phrase, it's the absolute heart of this whole thing. It suggests this is an experience that actually connects with a timeless part of ourselves. So let's start with this idea of an invitation. Because before we get into the nitty-gritty, you gotta understand where this is all coming from. It's less about a physical place and, well, more about a state of being.
And here's the core of it. In the Arreqqana tradition, they say that when a candle flame flickers twice in a totally still room, a gate opens. And Candle Dream Radio is said to exist right there, inside that single sacred breath.
Okay, so how do we even begin to wrap our heads around this? Well, the name itself is actually the key. We have to break down the 3 sacred symbols that make up Candle Dream Radio. Each one is a world of its own.
First up, the candle. Now, in the Arreqqana spiritual tradition, a candle isn't just wax in a wick. It's seen as a mirror for our own consciousness, that steady, gentle flame inside all of us that helps us navigate our own personal darkness. And if we go a little deeper, the symbolism is just beautiful. It's about that quiet truth that bubbles up from your own heart. It's about being brave enough to really see yourself clearly. And so importantly, it's about a connection to ancestral light, a link to everyone who came before us.
Next, we have the dream. And again, just like with the candle, we have to think bigger. This isn't just about what happens when you fall asleep. Lameyara is a sacred realm. Imagine a place where whispers from your ancestors, little threads of possible futures, and your own deepest memories all come together.
So what are these dreams actually doing? Well, they're not passive. They're seen as active messengers. They're carrying guidance from unseen sources, echoes of past lives, maybe even glimpses of possible futures. And they can also act as a kind of checkup for the soul, showing us where we might need to heal.
And finally, we get to radio. And this is where we have to really shift our thinking. Because when we hear radio, we think of a box in our car, right? But the Qhara'Vo'Vva, that's something else entirely. It's not a device. It's a ceremonial conduit. And it transmits something way more subtle than signals. It transmits vibrational threads.
This little chart really lays it out. A regular radio, that's a device. It sends signals, it gives you information. But Arreqqana radio, that's a conduit. It sends vibrations. And its goal isn't just information, it's resonance. It's about feeling something click into place inside of you.
Okay, so we had the symbols. But what does it all feel like? What does it actually sound like to listen? That brings us to this next incredible idea, hearing the light move. This is so cool. People who've experienced this don't describe it as hearing sound in the normal way. They say it's like hearing light move. Just let that sink in for a second. It points to this beautiful, almost synesthetic experience where our senses just kind of blend together. And you might be asking, how do they create that feeling? Well, it's through these very specific sound threads. You've got these whispered sacred chants, these amazing breathy dream flutes. And this is wild, glass chimes that are tuned to the exact vibrational frequency of a candle flame. And underneath all of that, there are these 4 hum lines. They're said to be almost too quiet to hear, but their effect is, well, it's profound. Each one is tuned to a different purpose. Fire for grounding you, water for emotion, air for clarity, and ether for opening up your intuition. And this whole idea of feeling rather than just understanding, it applies to the stories too. There's no straight linear path. The narratives unfold more like our own dreams do, in these moments and fragments. The point isn't to follow a plot, it's to activate an inner resonance, to wake something up inside of you. So, obviously you can't just flip this on in the background while you're doing chores, right? It's not passive at all, which brings us to the actual ritual of listening. And this is maybe the most important thing to get. You don't just tune in, you enter it. Listening becomes this active, sacred process. You're not just a passive receiver, you are literally part of creating the space. So what does that ritual look like? Well, it has 4 parts. First, you light the candle. And the sign that the broadcast has found you, is that the flame shifts to an indigo color. Then the dream field opens, and you start to hear whispers emerge from what was just silence. As you settle in, yourself kind of loosens, your breathing slows down, and it feels like your memories and your intuition are weaving together. And then, the end, it doesn't just cut off. The transmission completes when the flame gives what's described as a gentle bow.
So what's the point of all this? What's the takeaway? What does it leave you with? That's what we're going to touch on in this final section. So when do you do this? This isn't your morning commute playlist. It's really meant for those quiet moments, at dawn or late at night, or maybe those times when you just feel a bit lost. Its whole purpose is to be a gentle guide back to yourself.
And that really gets to the heart of it, to this incredible, comforting idea. It's a reminder that even when you feel totally lost, like you've completely forgotten who you are, that inner flame, that essential part of you, it's still there. It remembers you.
So I want to leave you with this question. It's not about what you'd hear coming out of some speaker. It's about what would answer from inside of you. If you were to listen, if you really created that space for yourself, what dream would answer?